Now, let me explain something to white people. Our hair comes out of our head naturally in a curly pattern. So when we're straightening it to follow your beauty standards, we are trapped by the straightness. That's why so many of us can't swim. And we run away from the water. People won't go to the gym because we're trying to keep our hair straight. No. It is exhausting. On
them. Do what? Excuse me? What'd you say?
On
the battle continues with the deep state, coordinated effort, lawfare, activist judges, poor leadership. This is such a well-run country, right? Texas, by the way, taking an L at the moment. This is going to be appealed. We'll see how this goes. But, they're passed by Senate, signed in by Governor Greg Abbott. It was the redistricting effort so that you could level the playing field legally and lawfully with, redistricting so the Republicans could actually get some representation in this pretty red state called Texas, by the way. Well, it's been knocked down by a judge and it said this thing is based on race. This is based on race. I can't do that. And recently when I think about it, California just did a thing where what was it? Proposition 50, I think is what they call that, where they've now passed a thing where they can redistrict based on race. Based on race. And then knock out 5 GOP seats so that, you have 0 Republican representation, even though if you really get to the heart of California outside of San Francisco and places like that, it's pretty Republican. It's pretty red. But, anyhow, bear with me for a second. By the way, if you would please, hit the like button. Make sure you do that because YouTube be killing me. Thank you. In the world of America, how it used to be, we all we knew there was illegals coming across the border that would just come here to work, and it was not legal for them to be here, but they kind of kept to themselves and they worked, and it's fine. We were cool with it. And then this is where they messed up because they said, well, we vote for the Biden, or we vote for Biden, however, whatever illegal is here. And they did that because they knew that it would, it would benefit them in the long run so far as free health care and more benefits for the ones that were taking advantage of the system. Well, what you ended up doing was voting in a Biden. He opened the borders up, flooded the whole United States with so many illegals, and they're doing some crazy stuff, illegal things, harmed people, harmed women, females. And they took over cities. The Trinidad gang took over cities. You've got Chinese nationalists in here just in infrastructure. All of a sudden, it just magically starts setting on fire like we've never seen before with food processing plants and substations just going out of control. That now we were like, whoa, and we got Trump in, and Trump's like, now all the illegals are getting deported, even the ones that were here that have been here forever, not bothering anybody. That's their fault. They should have been voted anyways, but they did. So I'm just a little side thought. Well, Abbott, by the way, and I'll show you the articles, just now determined that the Muslim Brotherhood is really bad, like a form of terrorism. You don't say. Based on what was happening in Nigeria with these Muslims that were genociding Christians and other situations, that shows where this is a thing. It probably was better late than never, because right now the Muslim Brotherhoods are buying up hundreds of acres of land, constructing these huge, they got really mad at David Koresh with the Branch Davidians because he had some people at a convent that he put together, and people willfully started hanging out there, and they liked it, and he started having a thing. They said, well, that's a cult, and then the FBI came in there and just, whoops, we burned everything. Yeah, thanks, Eric Holder. You did a great job, because a lot of innocent people were no longer with us because of that. That was a really mishandled thing. But anyways, long story short, if David Koresh couldn't do it, why did these people get to come in there and do it? At least David Koresh didn't blast crazy prayer music at 2 o'clock in the morning and 3 o'clock in the morning and 4 o'clock in the morning and standing in the middle of the streets and blocking traffic and going in and trying to strong arm businesses to quit selling legal substances that are allowed to be sold over the counter. Stuff like that. And I'm going to show you the articles so we can dig into this. But like I said, guys, thank you for watching, and here we go. We'll roll into this first. Governor Greg Abbott has designates the Muslim Brotherhood and the CAIR, and whatever that is, CAIR, as foreign terrorist and transnational criminal organizations, bans them from buying or acquiring land in Texas. Now let's see how long it takes for these activist judges to come in there and put a stop to that. And I have a theory behind this that could be completely out of context and not even correct at all, but this is just a theory that I came up with from understanding things. It's real easy to understand that Israel or the Jewish people are probably not really favorable of Muslim type stuff because of the fact that there's that whole thing. That's a whole other video. And if they've got so much control over Congress with AIPAC, which kind of is a thing, mostly Republicans, ironically, they should be able to do something about this. This should be like something they want to do. And this could be part of it. I don't know. But I'm just thinking of places like Minneapolis and Michigan and other areas up there in that area where like Ilhan Omar and all these people, they've completely overtaken a lot of states up that way and areas in those states. Why are they still allowed to be here? Or like a J-PAL, I think that's the one. Is that the one? Or is it, anyways, that one woman that's got looks like an angry frog when she talks in her big glasses, which I guess that doesn't really describe something perfectly. But anyways, why hasn't AIPAC been able to deal with these people? Or better yet, are they not, for a reason? AIPAC was around when Obama was president. How come they allowed him to make that decision so far as like, allowing these Muslims to come in and conglomerate and then, do what they're doing? And they have all the intentions of overtaking this country when destroying Western civilization and culture altogether. That is what they want to do. They come in here and they be nice. Everybody's cool. Everybody's happy. Oh, there's nice Muslims, whatever. That's not. They have this thing called taqiyya where they can lie to you until they get their numbers when they need to be, and then they come in and strike force with a vengeance. And Netanyahu knows this, and all these people, and if they like America so much, and if they understand that the Muslims are a threat to that whole civilization and their existence as well, why would they allow that to build up in here? And I know this is a little bit of a lengthy build up. I think that that's a plan. I think because I've actually heard from some of the European leaders that are very tied to the Israel government that they're going to flood. And in Israel, there's like an Israel leader in Europe said, we're going to flood Europe with mass illegal migration of a bunch of people who are not going to assimilate, most of them coming from Muslim backgrounds, so that they could destroy this European lineage. And then what that will do is, what people live through that will be converted to Muslimism, and then then the people that don't just aren't here anymore. That thins down the herd. And then it makes it a whole lot. And Muslims typically don't really build a lot. They're kind of destructive. And so, and there's a lot of inbreeding that goes on, which means that IQ levels tend to drop significantly when these people get into an area and become one. They literally become one. And that being said, that their existence would need assistance from outside forces, which means these would be very, very willing subjects for being under the control of the globalist elite. That would really annihilate the middle class of people who can really make good decisions. And so then you would take, in my opinion, give this leading class, the elite class, more of an advantage by doing that. And that would be the culture shift that seems to be the case to me. And I see this happen in the United States, which means this could be a plan. In other words, Israel kind of like not regular. Bible, I'm not against Jewish people. I'm against the corrupt Israel government that doesn't like us. They really don't. They use us and they make us think that we're allies. But they'd really like to do something with this place in their eyes. They see us as Rome. If you really actually listen to some of Netanyahu's rhetoric, he kind of refers to as the United States or the Western civilization as the new Rome that needs to be conquered, and that's their. It seems to be the plan. So you would want a cutaway to get 90% of that out of the way, and you would bring in a bunch of destructive Muslims that want to overtake Western civilization and then destroy it. And it's not going to be sustainable because that's how they roll. Everything that they do 90% of the time is not sustainable. Violent, all this stuff, you put that together, then that they'll need assistance, and they can be controlled and then kind of moved and steered by that whole thing. It's a long story, but you kind of see where I'm going with this. So I don't know what the outcome of what's happened with Texas is going to be, but this is a good move for Texas. It really is, in my opinion. I think that's great that they're going to do this, because this needs to send a message, at least slow this down, because this is happening very rapidly. I can remember when this all started. I'm like, this will not be a thing. This was, this all started when Obama was second term. We started moving all these people up in the northern states. And now with the open borders and all this stuff, a bunch of people came in here, and now they're here and getting serious representation, way more than Americans are, and buying up all this land. For one thing, China's probably pissed. They're like, damn it, that was going to be our land. Fuck yeah. So maybe China might have something to do with that. I don't know. I just know right now Abbott says we ain't going to do that. We're going to roll. We ain't rolling like this. Texas Governor Greg Abbott announced that he has designated the Muslim Brotherhood and Council on American Islamic Relations, okay, that's CARE, as foreign terrorist and transnational criminal organizations. The move bans organizations from buying or acquiring land in Texas and authorizes the Attorney General to sue to shut them down. That's good. Good. Like I said, they couldn't. David Koresh didn't get a gimme. No, and he was like, I'm not advocating for David Koreshisms, but he really wasn't that bad of a guy. And if you talk to the people that were there, he was weird. They were all weird, but they were kind of keeping to themselves, They weren't bothering anybody. These people are bothering people. They're doing harmful stuff. They go to businesses and try to make people bend to their will. It's wild, dude. So moving on to this here, a panel of federal judges blocks new Texas congressional map, orders state to use a 2021 map. That's weird. A panel of federal judges on Tuesday blocks the new Texas congressional map and then ordered the state to use the 2021 map. In a 2-1 ruling, the 3-judge panel ordered Texas to use this map. The judges claim that the newly redrawn map is unconstitutional based because it appears to be a race-based gerrymander. And the ruling is expected to be immediately appealed, of course. U.S. District Judge Jeffrey Brown, a Trump appointee, who wrote on the majority opinion. It says a panel of federal judges, blah, 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 and in a 2-1 ruling in court order, Texas, blah, 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 the map ultimately passed by the legislator and signed by the governor on the 2025 map achieved all but one of the racial objectives, and the DOJ demanded U.S. District Judge Jeffrey Brown, a Galveston-based Trump appointee, wrote for the panel majority. So this was... Anyway, so in late August, the Texas House voted on a new congressional map after the Democrats stonewalled them for more than 2 weeks. The map passed 19-2 along party lines, was designed to create up to 5 new Republican-drawn U.S. House seats in anticipation of the 2026 midterms. The mid-decade redistricting isn't about fair representation. It's about politicians picking their voters. This is what they're quoting, what they're saying anyways. But no, it's not. It's about fair representation. But this is, I'm reading a quote from Duman. He says, the Senate Democrat caucus said that in a previous statement, it doesn't stop here. And if they can gerrymander now, they can do it every election, just like the Democrats do. They just get mad when you start playing their game. They don't like, this immediately when you start winning the game, they want to change the rules. Democrat-run California passed new congressional map and initial 5 defeats. As I said earlier, their maps allow them to have. They just annihilated what was left of Republican representation in California, based on race. That's actually what they even said. There'll be some activist judges that will stop the first thing I talked about with the Muslim stuff. That's coming. They're going to do that. That's the thing. Yeah, that. Pretty wild stuff there. Another note, something you don't get to see every day, is a non-white person who can't ride a dirt bike. It's bad. It's not good. Oh, bro. Well, all right, guys. So keep your eyes peeled. We'll hope for the best, and maybe we can make something happen. But Texas has got to pull this mess together, man. We've got to pull this stuff together. This lawfare is terrible, guys. Take it easy. We are out.